Welcome everyone to the 299th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's November 23rd? No, am I reading this right?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
The hell? Did I sleep in a month?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh.
You are a
the end of
zombie, it happens
2021.
sometimes.
It's 2021! Oh no! I got a
wake
lot
up
of
in a
taxes to
coma.
pay. Well, as you can hear, we got a small horde of people joining us today. We got Allie Fluffy Pixie Vex.
Woo!
Oh,
Yeah.
Hello, I'm trying to
Well-
replug my Huey on tablet to get it to work because it's being a piece of
But
word that I can't say on stream, so I'm going to restart my computer.
In the
I
meantime,
just-
we're all invading Vex's drawing corner, and she's
Get
very
out.
unhappy about it.
stay back.
I like the ropes.
I have it hostage.
We're so very focused today, as you can
Very
clearly see.
focused. Enjoy your very low level of critique today.
Listen, we're just excited because next week is the 300 stream.
What?
Yeah.
Big deal.
Ooh.
Did you know we're doing something for that?
Whoa.
Potentially?
What, really?
Well, if we could organize it. We got like 3/4 of the way there, but
We have a
But,
day. We
yeah.
finally have a day.
We're trying to organize.
well, it's likely Saturday, December 3rd. No, 4th.
Fourth.
Yes. Or 3rd, depending on your time zone. And if you're really devoted to us.
In the meantime, this is definitely a drawing fluff on everything kind of stream, so
Yeah.
that's where we're
Yeah.
going, I think.
So yeah, let's just hop on in there. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any art you'd like to submit, you know how to do it. None of you do it, but you know how to do it. So it's great. So let's do the first one that was submitted on our Discord. As you can see up in the top left-hand corner, this is by Embroidered Equations.
Ooh, I like the new signature.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should've just scored out with the blue line.
This is by yeah, Embroidered. I really like how this turned out, but I'm not sure if I've overdone it with the overlays or the rain. If the light makes sense hanging over her.
So last part, sorry you cut out a bit.
Oh, sorry. If they've overdone it with the overlays or the rain and the light still makes sense hanging over her.
Oh,
Okay.
that's over her. I thought it was behind her. To be honest,
No,
so...
it's like a dome.
yeah.
She's
now I
casting
see
a
it.
shield. Yeah.
Right, I thought it was like the moon. I see. Okay, so what I would do for that is I would definitely take this and no, it's not letting me do it because I'm still locked. I would definitely increase she is under the light as well, right? Like it's a dome around her, like an umbrella. So she would be sort of like at least a bit more partially sort of obscured by it, just to make sure it looks like a semi-translucent thing and not like magically becoming completely transparent over her head, you know? The rain, I do think you've done a lot of it. The rain typically, when you look at it, it's best not to. I mean, it is like small drops of water, obviously, but it's not going to be these like teeny little like lines. The best way to sort of show rain in like a still image like this is to do fewer, bigger strokes that are more purposeful like this. And you can see how I've like some of them I've arced in different directions, because like that's what you always do, right? When it's like, oh, I'm doing rain, so it's all going to fall like diagonally, and you're just going to do all these strokes in the same like direction. But like actually, no, like rain will like be chaotic. It's being whipped around in turbulent winds and hurtling towards the ground. It's not all going in the same direction, nor at the same time, you know. And some are bigger than others, so it's inconsistent and chaotic. So like having like some of them be slightly different strokes and everything really helps to give it like the sort of like chaotic feel, and you know, placed differently at different sort of densities. The same thing as we would say for like drawing stars in the sky. Like you want to mix up where they're placed and like the brightness and all that sort of stuff. Same thing for this. You want to mix up the shape, mix up the position, mix up the angle and direction and all that, and the density of them, because it makes it feel chaotic. And you can imagine now that there's a bunch of wind on her. You can imagine that just by the way that the strokes are sort of like thrown back. You can see this rain being pushed by the wind, and you can imagine how blustery it is. But I would, in addition to the lines that I drew, you would also need some in the background as well. But like with you already having rain in the background, it might be a bit tad hard to see if I try to do loads more. So I'll just that, but like also some in the background, just like a bit fainter, just to sort of keep that like a mess there, but not quite as much as what's already in the picture.
If I could go back to the shield just really, really quick, my main thought would be is maybe since it's in front of her and it's kind of looping through itself, when you have two semi-transparent things overlapping each other, the color will change and it'll be different from front to back, because essentially you're having the front part be on top of the back part, and the front part has nothing obstructing it, but the back part does. So having a different color for the front section, I'm not saying you have to make it as dark as I did, but have it stand out from the back, because the back's going to be affected by the overall green glow you have going on. So it's essentially the front color covered by the glow color. Hopefully I'm making sense there. But yeah, just to have something to differentiate front to back when you have kind of a translucent thing going on.
It would also be sort of right. Oh, sorry, back to you.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to put in a couple things that I did for the overall glow on her outfit and hands. I just made it a little bit spread out a little bit more. You had it pretty focused on certain spots, which with the light source this big wouldn't necessarily be something you want to do. It's going to cover most of everywhere that light's going to hit on her is going to have some of that blue light. So I just made that a little bit lighter in the spots
That
where it should
looks
have
really
been.
good. Yeah.
And then on her little tags, I'm not really sure if they're metal or not, but if they would be metal, those would be extremely shiny. So I brighten those up as well to be more reflective of that light.
All right.
The other thing is like when you have like a sort of circular object, stuff towards the outside will be a lot thicker than towards the middle, because basically you're looking through more of it. That's why it's often you'll see sort of spherical things being lighter and more clear in the middle if they are semi-transparent than around the edges, and it's why the sky looks the way it does as well. Where when the sun's low in the sky, it's orange because we're seeing through more atmosphere than when it's right above us. So it's the same sort of thing. If you've got like a dome like this, it'd be the color would be much thicker around the edges than in the middle. So that could be something to play with as well.
I think it'd be really interesting to you've sort of set how chubby your raindrops are. So if we're imagining the dome is like a solid dome, magic, it's stopping water from hitting it, right? Or stopping water from hitting the character. Having the water sheet off of and run off of it is a good way to give it shape, because we can use that water to express the shape.
That's actually a good idea.
Also, the rain droplets that are hitting the side here don't make sense, because we can see the rain is sort of following a certain direction here based on all the streaks that have formed from the chubby rain. We on that side we wouldn't get like bounce back. We'd get sliding and beating. I mean, if you just go stare at your anyone's car, like go wander out into the middle of a parking lot during a rainstorm, because this seems like a great thing to do, and watch the water run off the windows and stuff. When they hit from different directions, based on the direction, it'll either have the bounce back or it'll absorb the energy and transfer it in a different way, things like that. So it will also help express the shape and give us dimensionality of where the rain's hitting from.
So you've got one of the shoulders up here and the close shoulder down here. What that means is that that's kind of and they're not in like too extreme of a pose or anything like that. So it looks to us like that's kind of I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but
Like with her head
This-
turned that much, the body's also going to be turning that way.
Well, it's
that
more
right?
like this should be curved down about as much. This front face
Yeah,
of the
I think
thing.
that's what when Ali drew the little dome, she was sort of going for that as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I
And
think
the
you're right.
back one should be something along those lines. And what you should do with this in mind is keep in mind that all of this area is going to be 2
2 times the
domes.
thickness.
Yeah, we went over
Yeah,
that. We got that.
Oh, okay. And all of this area is going to be 1 times, and so it just needs to be
Yeah,
filled in
yeah.
like down here as well.
Mhm.
I got in late because I'm still
That's
trying to
okay.
mess around with my tablet.
You're good.
I hate my
Like-
tablet. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Technology, be nice to Pixie, or we'll ban you. Except no, because he needs it.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Like I
Sure.
really love the dynamicness of this scene. Like it's really
cool.
emotional.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
good. I like it.
Yeah.
I
Also,
like how there's just the hands look so good because there's just enough like sort of softness around them to make it feel sort of cinematic. It's good.
Mm-mm.
I want to know if it's snowing or sleeting. Does like it build up on that shield, or is the shield emitting a little heat to pull stuff off?
Oh my god,
Oh, the heat would be fun. Like a little...
I'm just imagining like a sudden like snowfall, and then we cut to like it finishes like a sheet of snow, and then there's like a rumble, and then like just like a semicircle of it just pops up with the character's head coming out from underneath it, from like the shoulders down, and then like they just shake their head, and all the snow falls.
Done. All right, let's go on to our next one. This one on the right is by Not a Burner, and it's Booping My Girlfriend's Pony Sauna.
Aw.
So cute.
Yeah.
Very, very cute. Cute stuffs. Okay.
Boop.
So the first thing that points out to me is that the stuff in the back is definitely way too small compared to the stuff at the front. The legs, I mean, even this front leg is a bit too far, so I'd actually reduce the length of the hoof and move them over, maybe move the head back a bit just to sort of compensate. Or leave the head where it is, move the body and just readjust the neck as appropriate. But the legs aren't very consistent sizes, and that's very easy to do. It's totally fair, totally understandable. It's just a case of learning to just look at every now and then just look at the whole thing and say, actually, are my legs consistent? Really, that's all it is. It's just getting into the habit of looking at all of them together and seeing whether it's accurate. So what I've done here is sort of place the character in, if we could imagine like a badly drawn square here, if they were in like a little grid, you can imagine them wanting to stand within this square, and so that helps us to place where the legs are. I apologize if it's a bit hard to see my lines, but yeah, here we go. So just to bring the legs into sort of consistent size and consistent placement. Yeah. I get a better color. What would look cleaner? Oh, it's so hard to find a color that.
Found pink. Pink is pretty good.
Yeah. We'll just both have magenta colored lines, so.
It'll be fine.
But you got like really good groundwork. It's just a case of sort of bringing all that together. Ooh, yes, that is good. There we go. Wonderful.
Lovely cute. Lovely cute.
But you got to get that bean body. And the tail would now come out of here, just for reference sake. Speaking of the hair, actually, what I'm doing here is you don't want the hair to feel like a flat object, and what happens if you do this is it just doesn't really look like hair. So you want to think about the fact that it is hair coming out of around here where the spine is, and then it's going to be flowing, and it's just like all these hairs are bunched up into little strands. So that's why it's better to have something that flows out from itself. And if you want it to be spiky and messy, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. It just got to look like hair. So yeah, here we go. Putting some swishes in. So it's nice and messy. And little strands like this are really good for sort of showing like messy hair. I really like that shape as well. We have like, I'll draw it a bit bigger actually over here, where you've got like the main thing and then a strand comes off, and how it like thicker sort of towards the middle or the end than it is at the start is a good move. I like. It helps to show sort of like the character looking their hairstyle being sort of unkempt, and also random little stray lines. So let's erase this a little bit, just make it put some little stray lines in. There we go. They got like a messy hair. If that's what you wanted to go for, which is what the original style looks like, it is.
I will say, good job on making all of the legs look different. Like in terms of this one, this one, this one, this one.
Yeah, they're all different angles, and it's great.
Yeah, most artists would probably, or most artists that we see on here would probably just be like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, we like that you've tried to put them in different directions. It's just sort of the placement that I was talking about.
Yeah,
but make no mistake that the like sort of angle and pose that you've done is very good.
Yeah, you can see how much kind of volume Fluffy's added there, especially around the back side of the head. It's really fun.
I do notice I'm looking at the positioning of both ponies, and something occurs to me. They're both turned away from each other. So the green one is turned, facing towards the right side of the screen. The tan one is facing the left side, but they're both facing like towards the viewer almost, which doesn't quite make sense for like the I'm being booped. I should be looking at the target that is doing the booping. If we're to turn the head on the booped character, so it's actually looking more towards the eyes of this one, we could get a lot closer picture. Like so so we can up the interaction between them. Because right now the one in the green is just like booping the side of the muzzle, which seems less comfortable.
Yeah, it's like if you look at it from above. So imagine like this is the scene. You've got this pony, the green one, shaped or positioned like this way, and this pony is like shaped like this way.
Or at the very least, their heads at the very least their heads are, even if their bodies are straight on.
Yeah, it's like reaching around and all that sort of stuff. Like 3/4 heads are really easy to draw. Like
yes, they are easy.
But for a pose like this, it's good to like study directly side on and other ones.
I will say though, and firstly, yes, I do completely agree. I think that is valid. I do think though a lot of the time, especially in sort of like cartoon work, it can be very, it can work a lot to have the characters in sort of third quarter instead of side view, because it works a lot better to be able to see them, even if logically they should be facing each other. Because it's essentially we're not actually seeing like a full scene; we're seeing a presentation of it, as if we're watching. If you can imagine sort of like a play being built out of cardboard cutouts, but we want to be able to see everything so it's presented to us in a way that feels good to look at. So sometimes it can work to have the characters' heads third quarter rather than looking directly at each other, but a lot of the time it works better to have it in side view, as they were saying, because if you specifically want to build that interaction and have the characters like looking right at each other, it helps a lot to actually have them doing that. So it's a bit it's not completely wrong to have them in third quarter, is what I'm saying. It just sort of matters to think about whether what works best for this particular picture that you're doing, or any particular picture you're doing. Yeah, hope our draw overs and rambling helps. Oh no. I'm sorry if it's a bit hard to see though, all of our lines. Let me just do something just so you can take a screenshot while Pixie talks.
I'm sorry, what am I talking about?
Oh, it sounded like you were about to say something.
No, not at all. I've been muted here.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get my dang tablet to cooperate because it's
Uh-huh.
been being silly.
See, now my white lines are a bit harder to see, but oh, you know what? I can do it the other way. Hold on. Make it black instead. Aha. Just temporarily, just so we can see. If you want to take a screenshot, you can see our draw overs a little bit better than when it's full. So take a screenshot now. Boop, boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop. Okay,
Or
it's gone.
pause the video.
Yeah, I'm just giving them a chance to do that. Okay, I'll leave this, but it'll be white, and I'll turn it off for now, just in case we need it for later. Because sometimes it's hard to find colors that work over drawings with lots of colors on them.
All right. Shall we move on to our next lovely horse?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, we got one by Siborgan.
There is a
The
horse.
fancy one.
I couldn't see it at first.
This is trying 3-point perspective and using more tools. So as
Very
always,
fancy.
they've given us that nice build-up. If you want to take a moment, here's the link for that one.
Oh, I was trying to figure out. Okay, I was trying to figure out what is happening here. I thought that this character was. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. I thought this character was sort of like float. Oops, that was the wrong tool. I thought they were sort of posed like this with their hooves like up, like this. Like it's their forelegs, and the rest of them is like down here somewhere. And I thought this was like a DJ table or something in front of them. And I was trying to figure out why these lines were going in this direction. I then see that it's like there's light source going this way, and they're like running. It took me a moment to figure it out. I'm sorry. But it's a really cool idea. I love this sort of disappearing point you've got with the perspective. It's very cool.
I really like the feel of the second picture. That second progress picture. I feel like you have so many defined shapes that get lost in the third picture, and I'm almost sad you lost so many of those like nice like shapes. I really feel like it helps the picture really feel that nice defined city, like hard edge city feel.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue here is that it's I gotta go back to the daggy. Where did it go? Okay. It's a
You
lot
got
of the
lost.
effects that are kind of ruining the image. It looks like you're taking a lot of inspiration from like things like cyberpunk, just kind of that kind of aesthetic, and a lot of the concept art that it has there. But you'll notice with artwork like that is that they use a lot of like just hard shapes. When they do use blurring, they use it very carefully, but if you look at your image, it's all over the place. It's in all of these lights, it's in these lights, it's all over her. So it just kind of makes it difficult to see exactly what's happening here. So it would be good to study like where exactly they're using those blur effects, which I don't know if that's something you're intentionally doing or if it just comes with the brush that you're
Yeah,
using. But
I do think a
it
case
might
of
be good
more can
to
be very confusing.
yeah, it's you might want to turn down the effects a little bit next
Mhm.
time you do a project like this. Just because I love the aesthetic, I love the idea of the lights coming through these little holes, but don't do it with every single one, or else it just looks like a wall of fog has like
Yeah.
gathered here. So
Mhm.
You could just
So
be
do it.
careful.
You could just do it from sort of like a circle and have some really bright ones,
Hmm.
and then like a couple of sort of like dimmer ones towards the edge, and just show it sort of coming through that way.
I'm gonna say I love the effects. Keep the effects. But what you need to do is you need to pile the effects onto some very concrete, worked out
Yeah, yeah.
buildings.
That's
It's
Hmm.
that's what I
like
wanted to say, and I was trying to think of how to word it, and that's exactly what
you've
I was thinking.
like you've got this point down here, which is kind of like a vanishing point, and you've got like if it goes up through here. Excuse my horrendous mouse drawing because my tablet is being silly. It feels like that shuts out a little bit too much. I think that might be right, but it doesn't sort of go back in the way that I'd expect. And
yeah, I was trying to sort of work out the perspective a bit as well. I know you said it's a 3-point perspective, but everything feels like a little bit kind of askewed. But maybe it's just me because I've had problems seeing perspective in things before. So
yeah, it's like with the pony, you'll also need to work out like, or what you'll
yeah,
want to do is you'll want to draw like a bounding box around the pony
hmm
and then fit them into that so that the pony like fits into the
definitely.
perspective as well. And
They did that
once
a
you've
little
got,
bit in the first
yeah,
2 sketches. They did a little bit.
oh, okay, I didn't see the other 2 sketches, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much just this doesn't look quite worked out enough for all of the effects and for the style you're going for. It's probably going to help to look at actual city pictures, or sorry, actual city photos from strange angles and weird angles, and from these sort of extreme angles, and try to like sketch over them and try to work out the secrets to how they
Yeah, that's looking at the
express these kinds of things.
Ali shared the concepts and the thing. That's a very strange perspective. Like it doesn't quite
Oh,
look
okay.
like it's very warped and stylized. But it depends if you want something warped or if you
Oh,
want something
okay.
more concrete. But yeah, as to what we were saying about the effects, that's a lot more city than I knew existed. That's actually a really cool looking background, but we can't
Right?
really see any of it
Yeah,
because I didn't
actually,
even know that it
That's
was
what I
there.
meant by like maybe
Same.
yeah, put down the basics first and like work on the effects a little bit, just because it's really the effects that I think are kind of taking away from everything that you've laid down before it and giving a really crisp,
Yeah,
clean picture.
yeah.
yeah,
It's
actually, yeah,
cool.
because if we look at that, then that's really interesting.
Yeah,
All of
it's very
this,
cool.
all of this, all of these are pretty much unreadable.
Uh-huh.
All of this looks really cool in your sketches,
Mhm.
but it also ends up being a bit unreadable. And
Yeah, I'd say in the
I
third
think
picture is about when it looks the best because it's kind of balanced. Like the horizon kind of fades away, which is good, but like then it kind of just gets a bit drowned out, I think.
I think a lot of what it is over here. You've got these 2 faces of the building,
Yeah,
and these 2 faces of the building,
yeah,
and
I
these 2
wasn't
faces
seeing
of the
that at
building.
all.
When they switch from like this face being really light and this face being really dark, and this face being pretty light and this face being pretty dark, to being this, where both of them are pretty dark, that's I
And
think
it's
when it becomes pretty unreadable. So,
yeah, and it's kind of the other way around as well. Like the this one's kind of lighter than this one a bit.
these things, the light and the holes and stuff. What I
Yeah.
would do to make those more readable is probably there's something you can do to make these more readable and also direct focus on the image a bit, which is get rid of the light from here. Yeah, as someone's drawn there, like focus the light. Like if I look at where these headlights are pointing, they're pointing like pretty directly up here. So, have the light up here, have it like
Mhm.
pointing and illuminating the pony, and maybe even like illuminating the pony, the silhouette of the pony against a wall or something like that.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, you've taken on a pretty monumentous task for this picture, and it's really cool what you've done so far.
Mhm.
We're just sort
Mm.
of thinking about how you can make it look the best it can.
What you can also do, all of these little holes along here, they don't look great.
They're
What
a bit
I'd probably do,
inconsistent.
what I'd probably do is just leave those holes out, and then get like a. Unfortunately, the tools on here don't let me do it with the mouse. But get like a not very hard brush, or like a textured brush or something like that, and then like paint in like the background color from here in like a few specific areas to show that it's like a grating of some sort. And then through here in this like area, you can do the same thing but
Mm-hmm.
with light.
Yeah.
And have
You could also, given like the lighting, you could also have the sort of parts around here be sort of like swathed in enough shadow that it's just like black. You could have like bits of the effects sort of leading away as it goes into it, and then the rest is just kind of dark. It doesn't necessarily need to be the whole thing.
If you're going for this sort of an image with this sort of rendered style and all that kind of sort of stuff, it probably also makes sense to focus a little bit on lighting and on having different colors of light in through here, because all of this is like, you know, this red, and then you've got some buildings which are blue, but it's not quite enough to sort of express interesting cityscape, I don't think. So just adding little bits and pieces of, like, you know, other bits of color here and there, and certain other buildings or parts of buildings that are lit up in different ways will probably go somewhere to sort of breaking up the heterogeneousness. I don't know, the breaking up why all this sort of looks pretty similar, and giving you some like really more interesting city to work with. But it looks really cool. It's a really cool pushing of style and of everything like that. Good job, just like sort of going for it and just being like, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to try stuff and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about your work. You really push for these dynamic, interesting, like really, I don't want to say crazy, but they're so pumped full of so much illustrations. Like, I really commend you for pushing yourself to just do something so big. It's like such a big project. I think you're at this point now where it's like, you really know how to get these concepts down. Now it's the kind of slow, boring part of really fine-tuning this stuff, really taking in all the nitpicky things we've been bringing up and really fine-tuning them, and take time to like really carve something out and clean it up and not let it just be, you know, left blurry or messy. Like really get that nice refined polish to it.
Yeah. It's annoying how much of these sorts of like work and these sorts of pictures and all that sort of stuff can be improved by just like focusing on the basics, and by, you know, looking at photos and trying to break down how photos work and all that sort of stuff. If you're interested in a source that may be interesting, Ethan Becker on YouTube has some pretty interesting sort of videos that talk about breaking down sort of city photos and all that sort of stuff. So take a bit of a look online and maybe check out his stuff. He's got a very unique learning style, but yeah, he does talk about these things pretty authoritatively in a good way, I think.
All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we got a derpy.
Cutie patootie.
Hell yeah.
This one's by a Drawing Owl, who, interestingly, is in our voice chat.
I didn't even see the pony there. I only saw the tree at first.
Tried out paint effect for the colors here. Shading probably needs improvement, so definitely need pointers on that. Is there a specific type of layer mode that works well for shading? And if there is any, pointers on composition of this would be helpful at the time. Who does digital that can help with this one?
I mean, my go-tos for shaded layers are multiply or color burn. It really depends. They're both fun to play with. But if it's pure technical, yeah, multiply and color burn are good layers to mess with.
Yeah, it's like on Clip Studio, at least, you've got like the color dodge layers or the glow dodge layers and that sort of stuff. I like those ones. They're good for like lighting and making cool stuff and all that, and then you can go the other way. Yeah. I just made this layer color dodge, and it's like, oh my god, look at how interesting that is. Well, it's not as interesting as usual. Yeah. I don't know.
We are still working with Aggie.
We are still working with Aggie, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the burn and dodge layers, especially like the color and glow ones, are like fun to mess with. So what you want are the layers that will sort of make the picture lighter and darker, but also keep sort of the tint of the color that you put into it. So, for example, I've got a yellow brush here. Let me put my layer onto normal. I've got a yellow brush here, and what I want is if I go to a certain color mode, like, yeah, that keeps the yellow, but it might be a little bit too. Yeah, actually, that's color burn, and that's all right. So I might use that. I could use that for like, yeah, creating different colors of shadow and all that sort of stuff. Changing how much of that, yeah. So just think about like when you're messing around with layer modes, getting the layer modes that get the lightness or darkness, but sort of keep the tint of the color that you put into them and all that sort of stuff. Because that's what's going to make you get the really interesting the really interesting shadows and lights in your picture. Ramble.
Good ramble though.
Too early. Oh my god.
I just added some clouds up in the sky because there was a lot of dead space going on there, so just added some clouds to help make that area more interesting to look at. That's all I had.
So, you've got all of these in the far background. You're all in the far background. You've got this in the sort of, mid-groundy area. But you haven't got too much in this area, the area sort of between the far background and the mid-ground. So adding some stuff in there, like that's a bit bigger, could probably help with demonstrating the scale a bit more. And maybe adding some extreme foreground stuff. So possibly something along the lines of like a couple of little petals over here from like a tree that's like really close to the camera, or maybe even like a couple of big petals here that are like, floating past the camera in some way. Oh my god, it's raining like crazy. But filling out all of those different sort of distances from the camera are going to make your picture look more interesting, and they're gonna sort of just make this, what you've actually drawn, sort of feel like it's more in a 3D space. So think about, you can think about it like just different layers and different like distances from the camera. It's like, you've got this really super duper close layer that's on top of everything, and then you've got sort of this layer, and then this like layer, and then the far background layer, and just mess about with it a bit and see where you can get. It's a fun little picture though. Good job.
It's
You
very
got-
cute, peaceful.
Because you're in the voice
You got
chat.
Moxie
you got...
Kid. Oh, I thought that's where you were going with that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
So super cute. Giant petals.
Yes. Since you are in the voice chat, you can ask us any questions you want, and we're legally obligated to answer them.
Nothing new comes to mind. Yeah, thanks for the pointers, guys.
No problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to use the negative space too much or too little, I guess. Definitely looks better with all the extra flowers and clouds.
Hell yeah. Oh, it all comes with just messing about with different sort of things for ages and sort of learning what works and learning what doesn't.
Staring at other people's art and seeing what they do and
Yes.
how they compose like a tree backdrop. I always get like, especially for backgrounds, just looking at other people's art and seeing how or concept art for like movies and shows and stuff. They have the best environmental art to look at and just steal stuff from.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Hell yeah.
You got any recommendations for concept art to look at?
All of. I mean, any. So
Sorry.
the thing is, it's to your
What's your favorite?
taste.
Yeah.
Look for things that you
that's
want to
fair.
look at.
Go
styles you
to
enjoy.
ArtStation.
Yeah,
Round
yeah,
station.
basically.
Yeah,
Find
totally
things that you
ridiculous.
like. Yeah.
I've never used that site. I need to try it.
It's
It's
got
pretty good.
some great stuff
It's like DeviantArt for
for the
Professionals.
employees.
commercial
Yeah,
artists.
for professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Then let's move on to our next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
No problem, buddy.
Great picture. I
Awesome
love it.
stuff. Keep up the awesome work.
All right. We got an unknown horsey here by Lucy Two Sticks.
I
There's
like that name.
Yeah. Here's a
Yeah.
sketch I did trying to learn legs, muzzles, and ears. I would like to know if anything looks wrong with any of what I said. Also, I have studied deers and cats to understand legs for this design. Is that bad? To answer your question,
Hell
no,
yeah.
that's great. Real
That's
life
amazing.
references?
No,
Yeah.
you're like a bajillion leagues ahead of anyone who's ever started pony art and only looks at the show style. You're like chef kiss. I love to hear that.
Looks good. Good picture. We're done.
Yeah. Now draw
Alright.
more. That's our
Yeah.
critique. Just keep drawing.
What I like to do here, the shoulder thing, I like to have a little bit of a shoulder. Whoosh. And then yeah, that's like mostly it. Oh, and this back leg here, you also want to have, you see how you've got this like big honking thigh? You sort of want something similar here. Just at least just like a little bit of like a hint of it. And then you can do something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. Probably good to... Can you tell that I'm using a mouse?
You're doing very well using a mouse.
This... You can kick that out that much. I prefer to have mine kick out just a tiny bit less to make this like really weird, interesting shape here. And just personally, just for me, what I like doing here when it comes to like the ear and the back of the head, I like to honestly, when we're at this kind of an angle, have the ear sort of follow straight onto the back of the head. But that's just what I found works. Oh, right here. Right here, right here, right here. Tiniest thing ever. Tiniest thing ever. Have that go. Let me make my brush a bit smaller. Have it curve out. Just a tiny bit there. Doesn't need to be a lot, but just like a tiny little bit. What that'll do is that'll sort of show a little bit more that the head and the neck sort of flow smoothly into each other. It's a really subtle thing, but you know, it does help. But in general, no, this looks really good. I think, yeah, like just keep on drawing. Most of this looks really nice. If you want to get a bit of extra credit, what you can do is you can focus on is you can do something like this and then try to draw some contours over it, which is, so for example, this is a 3D shape, the sort of ball for the head. Try like drawing a line that goes sort of around the 3D shape and like follows around it and does all that kind of sort of stuff. Or like, you know, this front of the thing, you can do something like that. Oh my god. Something like that. Or like around here and tucks underneath and stuff like that. And just personally, doing these sorts of things sort of really helped me when I was trying to sort of, you know, just learn ponies in general and learn 3D things. So it might look like fishnet. It's like you just put fishnet over them or something like that at the end. And that's good. It means that you've sort of worked out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it helps you work out the shapes. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Bush, yeah. Yeah. Boop, and then something. I don't know. I'm just messing about with ideas, but yeah, that's something that could help and helped me when I was learning. So yeah, just keep on drawing, keep on showing us stuff, because in terms of like pony sketches, this looks really good. Good job.
All right. Anyone else got any other comments on this? Any other critique they'd like to add?
Nope. No. Really
Good.
great stuff said.
All right, then. That's it for the pictures we have this week. If anyone else has any other questions, now's your chance. Otherwise, we're calling it a day.
I just noticed the hilarity going on in the bottom. I just saw the like stuff in the background of the bubble. Can we see? Please show the amazing art on the stream.
I'm doing pixel art.
It's great.
Um,
The next
So
corner
much
has
going on
defense
here.
Number one.
All right.
Whoa.
Thank you all for coming. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.